Hello my dear friends, welcome back to our channel. In today's video, I am going to show you what is the best opening for black. Most of the players, they are confused about what is the best opening for black. So especially in this game, I am going to show you how you can play against any opening. And this is the modern opening, so it would be better you use it. Especially, it is not a big issue for white because white player can play any opening. For example, he can play the King's Gambit, he can play the Queen's Gambit. Also, he has this option to play the London system. Any opening white can play, so he can prepare and he can play against you easily. But for black, it is a confusing situation because when you are facing with your opponent, you don't know in which opening your opponent is going to start the game. So therefore it would be a little difficult to memorize all the lines and variations. But in today's video, I am going to show you one of the best opening that you can play against your opponent when you have the black pieces. So this opening is called Pirc defense, and this is a modern defense, and nowadays a majority of the grandmasters, they are going to play in this way. So my dear friends, without wasting the time, let's get started the game. In this position, it doesn't matter that your opponent starts the game by pushing into e4 or d4, doesn't matter. So I'm starting the game that if your opponent starts the game by pushing the pawn into e4. In this position, my dear friends, your best move would be pushing the pawn into d6. Now your opponent is pushing the pawn into d4. So what is the reason that your opponent is pushing the pawn into d4? So as you know, the chess principle is to controlling the center. And by pushing the pawn into d6, you are allowing your opponent to take the control of the center. So in this position, you just simply take your knight into f6. In this position, your opponent is also activating his knight. And also, your opponent doesn't have this option to push the pawn to attack to your knight because you are capturing the pawn. If your opponent's capture, so now you are easily capturing the queen. So the moment your opponent is capturing your queen, so now you are attacking to your opponent in different way. For example, if your opponent defend from his pawn, and in here you are capturing another pawn, and now you are up easily in this position, you can see that black is in a winning position. So it is not a good idea for your opponent is to pushing the pawn. So I'm going to show you the general move. I just showed you because if you face, what should you do? In this position, the best move for your opponent is activating his knight by taking it into c3. Now, my dear friends, when you reach in this position, you have to push the pawn into c6. This is the best move. And also we have another best move, and that is pushing the pawn, taking your bishop and also going to the castle. This is another idea. But in this position, pushing the pawn from your king side or pushing the pawn into c6, this both is good option for you. And the reason behind pushing the pawn is to activating your queen, making this diagonal free for your queen. So in this position, for example, if your opponent stick his knight into f3, as these are the main lines that majority of players, they are playing in this way. So in this position, the best option for you is to activate your queen into a5. As there is one principle in chess, you should not activate your queen before your pieces. But be careful, my dear friends, in this position, in this opening, this is the best square for your queen to activate it. And also, you should know that in this opening, you can take away at any time your queen. So your queen will not be vulnerable, but it depends to your calculation as well. So be careful that you should analyze all the squares carefully, where your queens can jump and move easily. So in this position, for example, if your opponent make a mistake, for example, if he takes a bishop into e2, on that way, you can simply capture the pawn as you pinned the knight by your queen. So this is the main reason that you activated your queen. And from other hand, so it would not be possible. And for example, if your opponent defends from his pawn by taking his bishop into d3. In this position, my dear friends, be careful. The best option for you is to breaking the center by pushing the pawn into e5. And here, if your opponents capture the pawn, so you simply capture it back by your pawn. So it would be the main idea in this position. And also when you are pushing the pawn in this position, if your opponent doesn't capture your pawn, so maybe your opponent is activating his bishop. So in here, you have to take away your queen. So remember, my dear friends, all the time, c7 would be the best square for your queen. For example, if your opponents capture the pawn, so you can simply capture it back. So now your opponent doesn't have this option to capture by his knight. So your queen is in a very active square. So it would be a very solid game for black pieces. So in here, if your opponents go castle, so you have to activate your knight. And your main target in this opening should be, I will not continue all the game because it would be too lengthy. So I am just going to show you how you should follow this idea. And here, my dear friends, your next move should be castle. After that, you can push your pawn as you block these two squares. So your opponent doesn't have any active square to jump his knight. But you can take your knight from this way, and also both of your rook should be in the center. In this way, you can attack from your queen side and you can win the game easily. So it would be a very good and fantastic game for black. So please practice it with yourself, and definitely you will have a very fantastic game. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends. In this way, you are motivating me to make lots of good videos in the future. Thank you so much. See you in the next video.